Well, our next guest has been described as one of the most respected family comedians of our time. He was a regular fixture on The Tonight Show and often filled in for David Letterman. And for 14 years, he toured the nation as the opening act for Frank Sinatra. He also made history as part of the first interracial comedy duo. He's a Navy veteran, and he's the pride of Harvey, Illinois. Would you please welcome Mr. Tom Dreesen?
Thank you. Thank you very much. One correction, I didn't open for Frank Sinatra. He closed for me. I'm really happy to be here. I was here last year in this area. I was playing golf in a celebrity tournament at Belmead Golf Club, golf course in Nashville. And they have a celebrity in every group, and they have this tournament every year. So I went to, it was my first time last year. I go up on the first tee, and the three guys I'm supposed to be playing with, I went up, and one guy came up, he was a car dealer. He said, "Hi, I'm Hoot McInerney." I said, "Hi, I'm Tom Dreesen." He said, "Nice to meet you, Tom. Sure hope we get a good celebrity. Last year we got some guy I never heard of." But I played 3 days in the tournament, and I had to do a show in Memphis on the last day. So after we played golf all day, I was filling up with gas in Nashville, and I was concerned maybe that I might fall asleep at the wheel on the way to Memphis. So I went inside, and in the refrigerator, they had that Red Bull. Have you ever drank that Red Bull? Whoa. I drank a can of that Red Bull. I was halfway to Memphis before I realized I left my car in the station back in Nashville. They ought to call that stuff cocaine in a can or something like that, But this has been a great year for me. By the way, the internet broke down the other day, so I had to spend some time with my family, and they seem like nice people. Now, I'm old school. I want to explain something. Just before the show, and I'm not making this up, I get this text, and I hope I can find it. This is, and I'm sure some of you will get this. This is from my daughter. "Hey, Dad, my BF broke up with me. But my BFF says it's NBD. BTW, I know this is TMI, but IDC. HMU, which I found out means hit me up, because I need advice and money." I texted her back, YAGS, Yags, you ain't getting squat. I have a 32-year-old daughter I'm very proud of because she's so independent. She lives by herself in my house. She got turtles out of the house. I think turtles might be the one dumbest pet a human being can have. Because, you can't tell if a turtle's dead or alive, Now, a turtle will lay in one place for 10 days, and just when you're ready to throw it out, it'll make a move. I have a son just like that. But as Mike said, I'm originally from a suburb on the south side of Chicago called Harvey, Illinois. And I went back there last year for a school reunion. By the way, folks, if you haven't been to a school reunion, don't go. Don't go. There are old people there who claim they were your classmates. And one of my teachers came up to me, it's the truth. He said, "You don't remember me, but..." I said, "Yes, I do. Your name is Richard Bruno, and you teach algebra." He said, "That's amazing." I said, "Listen to this. X to the 5th power times X to the 5th power is X to the 10th power, because in algebra, you don't multiply exponents, you add them." He said, "That's incredible." I said, "You know what else is incredible? That's the first time I've ever been able to use that since you taught it to me." One of the concerns back home are bullies in the schoolyard. And bullies, it's an important subject. We should be discussing this, but we all had bullies when we were growing up. In my neighborhood, we had a group that they traveled in 3s and 4s. If you looked at them, they were cross-eyed, they'd beat the tar out of you. They wore black and white. We called them nuns. My nuns in school: Sister Catherine Margaret, Sister Margaretha, Sister Bernadette Mary, Sister Marie Andre, Sister Anne Cecile, Sister Bertilda, Sister Thomasita, and Sister Madonna Treese. I'll put those 8 nuns up against any SWAT team in America. I don't think I'll ever get married again. I think I'll just get a dog, because a dog is man's best friend. It really is. My buddy said, "My wife is my best friend." I said, "A dog is man's best friend." Put your wife and your dog in the trunk of your car, leave them there for an hour, open the trunk, see which one is happy to see you. But you know, when you're married a long time, you argue about silly things. And we used to argue about the dumbest things. We were on vacation one time. I'm driving into New Orleans, and we're driving around. And I said, the little town, I said, oh, look, there's Napatachi, Louisiana. She said, it's Napatochi. I said, no, it said Napatachi. It's Napatochi. I said, it's Napatachi. She said, Napatochi. I pulled into a little restaurant. I went in there. There was a girl behind the counter, about 17 years old. Took my wife, and I said to the girl, do me a favor. Tell me the name of this place and say it very slowly. She said, Burger King. Thank you very much, Frank.
Tom, that was wonderful. That you were on the road with Frank Sinatra, the chairman of the board for 14 years. What was he like behind the scenes and off stage?
You know, I'm half Sicilian, he's half Sicilian. I'm half Irish. He used to tell me all the time, he said, Sicilians don't cry, Tommy, in public. Sicilians cry alone. I said, but I'm half Irish. He said, well, Irish cry when they change bus drivers. So, you know. But he had a great sense of humor. He was a good guy and probably the most benevolent human being I've ever met in my life. He did more for charity than you'll ever know, and he didn't talk about it. I'll give you a quick story, and I do a 90-minute show called An Evening of Laughter and Memories of Sinatra, and I tell this story in it, but we were coming out of the Waldorf Astoria one night on our way to do a show, and we were rushing to the limo, and a woman jumped out of the doorway, and the security guard told me she'd been hiding there for 5 hours, and she's hollering, Mr. Sinatra, please, and the security stopped her, and Frank's getting in the limo, she's hollering, Mr. Sinatra, please, please. He went back, he said, what is it? She said, my husband is home ill. If you would sign an autograph, it would mean the world to him. And Frank said, sure. And he signed me the autograph, and she looked and she said, oh, what beautiful cufflinks. They were $2,000 cufflinks. I know where he got them at. He said, thank you. He finished the autograph, he took the cufflinks, he gave them, he said, give these to your husband. She said, no, I don't want them. I was admiring them. He said, no, I want your husband to have them. We get in the limo, and I said, Frank, that was beautiful, but why did you do that? He said, Tommy, if you possess something that you can't give away, then you don't possess it. It possesses you.
Oh, wow.
And he not only talked that talk, he walked that talk.
What an incredible experience to have had. But, you know, you were a pioneer in some ways most people may not even realize. You were one of the first comedians that teamed up with an African-American back in the 60s when that was just, I mean, unheard of.
Tim Reed and I were America's first black and white comedy team. History shows we were the last. We wrote a book called Tim and Tom, An American Comedy in Black and White. You can get it on Amazon. I'm not pushing it. But now, hopefully, it's going to become a movie about what it was like touring the nation from 1969 to 1975 as America's first black and white comedy team. And that's what we did. We do all black clubs, and I'd be the only white guy within 5 miles, and we do all white clubs with Tim be the only black guy. And we played off of that all the time. We played off all the stereotypes. We did things that today they would never allow.
See, that's what I wanted to know. Is it possible to take that kind of humor and put it out today? Because everybody gets so offended by everything.
Not everybody. The politically correct police who are you know, they would destroy comedy if they could.
Tom, I want to tell you, you have been to every talk show ever. You've guest hosted with Letterman. You've been on Tonight Show and Dinah Shore, Mike Douglas and Merv Griffin and everybody. But I cannot tell you how honored, how thrilled, and how absolutely much fun it has been having you here on this show.
Oh, thank you.
And I want to thank you for coming. What a delight to have you.
It's all downhill from here.
No doubt. If you want to see a comedic legend in person, or if you want to invite him to speak or perform at your corporation's event, go to tomdreesen.com. It's right there on your screen, tomdreesen.com. And you can enjoy the highlights from his performances there as well. Be sure to visit tomdreesen.com. Enjoy the wit and wisdom of this really, truly great comedian and American treasure.